Hey everyone, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks, and today I'm playing possibly, in my opinion, the most ugly vehicle in World of Tanks. This is the Tier 6 reward British tank destroyer, the Excalibur. And yeah, when it looks at you like this, I really feel it's the kind of tank that only a mother could love. I don't know why, but when I played this vehicle recently, and I didn't even play it all that much, and I don't think that's an unusual thing. Not a lot of people have been playing this tank a lot when they've got it for some reason. I guess it's maybe just because of the playstyle, but I feel like when the tank turns its turret towards the sides, I was having a good old giggle at just the whole aspect of the way that the vehicle looked. So the Excalibur, it's the first reward that you get from the second season of Personal Missions, and on the European server, 72,000 people have played this tank. It's a lot like the Tier 6 British standard turreted tank destroyer, the Achilles, but it differs in a few ways. Firstly, its damage per minute and its penetration are lower than its standard counterpart, and but it has the same caliber of gun, 150 alpha damage, and I'm not sure if I could just commentate right. Like, just look at it when you put this thing... You can see me shaking the mouse at the time while I was doing it. I don't know, it feels like the vehicle's just like, like some horrible troll or goblin tank. Yeah, do you know what? It's actually become quite endearing to me, and I think it's a vehicle that I'm going to have to play a little bit more. That's because the playstyle of this vehicle is not all that toxic, at least for the person who's playing it. It's kind of toxic for the people who have to play against it. And that's because it's a reasonably fast vehicle with a very flexible gun arc. As you can see, it's able to aim further than 90 degrees to the left and further than 90 degrees to the right. We're actually talking about 100 degrees to the left and 100 degrees to the right here. Combine that with 10 degrees of gun depression and decent elevation angles, and you got a tank that pretty much has a turret, even though it just doesn't quite have a turret. One of the nice things about this vehicle as well is when you want to peer over a ridgeline at your opponents, the forehead of the tank, as I call it, or the distance between the barrel and the top of the vehicle for which your opponents can manage to shoot you, is quite small. They have to try and hit this hatch up here, so it can make this tank remarkably decent on a ridgeline. Now, I like to play this vehicle with hopefully an experienced British tank destroyer crew. You all know that I love my charioteer, and so I've got a decent crew on that tank, and I put them into the Excalibur. I like to put binoculars on this tank. I would even go as far as to maybe suggest using a camo net on this vehicle. Because of its low caliber gun, it doesn't actually lose much camo rating when it fires. Sure, it's not as good as an E25, or not as good even as the old SU-122-44 with the old class bonus. I was just giggling because I was having such a good time while I was playing this game. I can see just those mouse movements, and even though I'm just sitting completely still, there's something great about playing tanks that don't take themselves too seriously. I think vehicles like the TOG or vehicles like the Excalibur can be tons of fun because your expectations are about down here. They're super low. You've got really low expectations for vehicles like this. And you see, yeah, I don't really care if I don't have the best kind of game in them. A lot like when we had the TOG event at Tank Fest. I didn't win many of my TOG games, but I had the best of time playing with all of the community during that big TOG rental. And I think that's something that I can learn a lot from. Quite often, I'm not happy unless I'm doing 5,000 damage and picking up 4 or 5 kills a game. And even when I do that, I think, oh, I could have done more. But just to slow it down a little bit and play vehicles like this that don't take themselves too seriously can still be a hell of a lot of fun in World of Tanks. You can see we're doing some good work here. At the start of the game, we set up in a position, we laid down our vision, and we sniped it out against vehicles that have made mistakes about making their way through the center of the map towards the town. Or, well, not quite the center of the map, but look, if you go this way, or alternatively this way, into a town in Lakeville, unless you're a very low tier, you're basically asking to be put out the game. Then after that, we've fallen back, and we're just working a corner and using some bushes to try and protect ourselves. And you'll see I'm pinging the map here. I'm asking the IKV to do this. I'm asking the IKV, why sit here? I guess, I will actually... To be fair, I understand why he's sitting here. He's sitting here to be able to use those bushes. But I'm going to come around the corner and engage the Tiger 131, and I'm going to hopefully get a shot into the top of the Dickomax. And this is where the Dickomax has a big forehead, so I can actually shoot over the ridge line at the top of his tank between the distance between the gun and the top of his vehicle. A distance on my tank, or a length that is not very long, which allows me to actually just outplay the Dickomax on a ridge line. The reason why I was pinging the map is because one thing you want to do in World of Tanks is try to spread the angle against your opponents. If I'm pushing here and the IKV is sitting here, that means our opponents don't have to turn their turret very far to be able to engage. If the IKV had gone all the way around here and maybe just peered up along this ridge line, he would have forced the Tiger to turn his turret towards the side, and if the Tiger turns his turret towards the side, then I can come around the corner and get a free shot into him. And alternatively, when the Tiger's aiming at me, the IKV has enough time to peer up over the ridgeline to be able to engage the Tiger. So that's the idea that I was trying to get through there to the IKV 103. But to be fair also to the gentleman, or to the lady, the sitting in this bush was a perfectly valid option if he pulls back and manages to engage from it as well. And oh dear, there's a little bit of disrespect to that German tank destroyer as the Soviet Tier 6 medium tank slams into the side of the Jagdpanzer IV, taking off the tracks and dealing a significant amount of damage, enough to allow me to finish them off and secure my 5th kill of the game. So the Excalibur, my word, what an absolute freak of a vehicle. It really is. And I haven't done the tank any favors by putting on possibly one of the most ridiculous looking camos in the game. Right, ladies and gents? I think this is the Wargaming Fest camouflage from 2018. Oh, well, that's very convenient. Yes, I guess it is the Wargaming Fest camouflage from 2018. And I guess it's to signify bringing the heat. Just a shame that this tank doesn't have any heat. But most of the way through this game, I've actually got away with the standard ammunition this tank has. And 165 is definitely not going to be great against your Tier 8 opponents, but it's more than sufficient when you're in a top-tier matchup like this. But the 192mm of premium penetration this tank has is just, oh, so lovely for being able to take on those higher-tier tanks. And oh, no, it's a Leffe at the end of the game. Do you know what? The Leffe could kind of still win this if he manages to pick us all apart one by one. I'm worried because this is a Tier 5 premium French self-propelled gun, nearly called it a tank destroyer, with 400 meters view range. But again, I can use the turret of the Excalibur to peer up over the ridgeline and shut down that pesky Tier 5 premium French self-propelled gun. Whoa! So all in all, a fantastic round here for the Excalibur, but I just still can't get over just how ugly this tank looks. This can't have been a real tank, surely. I've got to find out. Did this thing only exist in blueprints, or is this just... we got to find out. So reading a little bit on the World of Tanks Wikipedia page shows that this was actually a project for an airborne amphibious tank destroyer. An airborne amphibious tank destroyer, which is one of the reasons why the armor on the vehicle is so darn thin. It then goes on to suggest that a full-size prototype was manufactured, but further development was discontinued. On the awesome Tank Encyclopedia page, more details are given out to the engine, that the vehicle had a 580 brake horsepower engine that ran on diesel, and there were plans for the vehicle to have a 105mm low pressure gun. And to be able to keep the weight down while the armor was thin, it was also supposedly going to be made out of aluminium. And the vehicle's survivability was to depend on agility and ambush tactics. And while the vehicle was really just an idea and never came to fruition, one of my favorite things about Water Tanks is it takes these peculiar ideas and just puts them out on the battlefield. And as I said, you can't take them too seriously, right? So this was a high caliber and a top gun for the Excalibur. We get 1,244 base experience points, which was enough to get an ace for the tank. Our 7 kills gives us 25,000 credits profit with a premium count, 10,000 without, although I did use pudding and tea to keep my crew fresh and pip, old boys, so I probably would have made that many credits actually. So the Excalibur is the first reward of the second set of missions, which culminate with the reward of the Object 279E. Yeah, if you're looking for a derpy Soviet tank destroyer, don't look at this one. This isn't going to sort you out. However, if you're looking for some kooky British wacky tank that kind of likes to sit at long range, but also have enough flexibility to be able to outplay people on a ridgeline, unlike a lot of tank destroyers can, yeah, then maybe this is going to be the tank for you. Anyway, ladies and gents, that is, in my opinion, the most ugly tank in the game. I'd like to know which vehicle you think tops the Excalibur for just silliness scale. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, but if you hated it, give it a thumbs down. And if you're watching this video as it's released on Friday, I am currently in the USA for the second time, baby. I'm staying in San Diego, where I'm attending TwitchCon, and I'm streaming live right now from the Wargaming booth, and I've got a treat for you. Firstly, I'm going to be playing a tank that you will have never seen before. Spoilers, it's a Tier 8 American heavy tank. And secondly, when I'm done showing it off, I'm going to play your favorite tanks of all time. And so join me right now on twitch.tv/QuickyBaby. TwitchCon is always magic, and I'm looking forward to sharing it all with you right now. And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.